What's up, what's up? This is Tony A with YORUBADE. So I wanted to briefly talk about the Africa Free Trade Agreement that went into effect January 1st of this year. It was signed back in 2018. And basically what it means is all the African countries, or I think it's 54 out of the 55 African countries, decided to make a free trade area so that it's easier to do business with other African countries and also for the people to move around. So I'm just gonna point out some of the parts that stood out to me and why it can be very beneficial, and then I'll kind of at the end I'll just kind of explain the good, the bad, what it means for us, so that you at least have an understanding of what the whole Africa Free Trade Agreement means. So the first thing that stood out to me is one of their missions for this agreement is create a single market, deepening the economic integration of the continent. So right now, it's very difficult to do for African countries to do business with each other. I've heard that colonialism has a lot to do with it. Visas, tariffs, and just other stuff that just makes it very difficult. It's easier to do business with European nations, the US, China, than like their neighboring countries, the countries that border them themselves. So now this agreement is to make things a lot more easier, to encourage intra-Africa trade, so that the dollars or whatever currency that they're using, it's not dollars, just Liberia, but whatever, the local currencies that they're using, they can start circulating their money amongst each other rather than it just going abroad. And so that's the number one thing that I saw that I can see as very beneficial. The second one is of their agendas is to aid in the movement of capital and people, facilitating investment. So once again, going to the first point, it's very difficult to travel around different African countries because of the visa situation. Now the visa is it's really ridiculous, and I don't know why they didn't think about creating, if you're an African country, you should have access to all the other African countries visa free. You shouldn't need a visa. For whatever reason, they had the visas, and now they're looking at, hey, you know what? It doesn't make any sense that it's cheaper to fly to Europe or London or whatever, and instead of going to the other countries in Africa. So if they get rid of that, now it's easier for not just tourism amongst other African countries, but also business people to come in. If they want to do business in another African country, they can go over there. Or you could look at it this way: graduates that graduate from college, if there's no opportunities in their own country, then it'll be easier to find jobs or careers in other African countries rather than having to deal with the hassle of getting a Western type visa, whether it be to the UK or to the US. They don't have to jump do hurdles just to get that visa to get opportunities. Instead, they can travel around the continent for whatever opportunity is best for them. So that's really good. And third one, okay, so one of the biggest barriers to doing business or intra-Africa trade are the tariffs. So tariffs are basically like taxes on imports. So they can be used strategically to protect the domestic market. If they don't want too much of a certain product to be imported in, they'll put in a tariff so that it's not beneficial for that exporter to do business with that country. But at the same time, you limit trade, and if you don't do it right, then you can really damage just the relationship with other countries and the region. So they're saying that they're eliminating 90% of the tariffs. So if they do that, that'll be really good. Definitely is going to be easier. It's going to be cheaper to do business with other African nations. So the good thing about what this African free trade agreement brings is allows for more free movement. Just like, think of it like Europe, how they have their train and it's easy to go from country to country. If Africa has something like that, it would be super easy just to be well traveled amongst the continent, and I'm talking about the people that actually live there. It'd just be so much easier. So that's definitely a plus. Don't have to worry about visas, issues trying to go to another African country, or even the high plane tickets that you do have. So yeah, plane tickets to go to other African countries is insanely high, which is just ridiculous. So if they can fix these issues, then I mean, just going back and forth is going to be so much easier. Also, what's really good, I already talked about the tariffs. It's cheaper to do intra-Africa trade, so this is good for businesses. So if we're trying to invest in the continent, then you know we find connects in other countries, then we can make it happen. We can make the connections happen more easier because we're not spending as much. So that's good. And there was one statistic that I saw: less than a fifth of all exports are from intra-Africa trade. So basically, yeah, most of the trade that happens with African countries is going outside of the continent. So less than a fifth of it actually stays within, which is a huge problem. We're not supporting each other, and if we're not going to support each other, we're just not going to be strong as a unit or as a continent. So the bad about it, that some concerns that other countries have, specifically Nigeria. So Nigeria was one of the major countries that was stopping itself from really signing the agreement, and it is the biggest economy in Africa. They were concerned about dumping, which basically is cheap product. You dump it into the country because they'll accept it, and then the local manufacturers can't compete with it. What I was thinking is just cheap Chinese imports coming from other countries, or Chinese companies that make cheap stuff, and then they try to sell it easily into other African countries, can mess up just the market over there. So that's one concern. Another concern is just the conflict with local and national businesses. And poorer countries can take advantage in this situation. So say you got your local manufacturers in one country, and you got a poor country where they work for less. Well, if they start importing their products, they're going to do it at a cheaper rate because the labor is less into these just another African country that's doing way better, so the labor is going to be more. Well, it's going to be the local manufacturers is going to be like, oh, wait a minute, like now we can't really do business because you're importing these cheap ass products. So that was one of the concerns that Nigeria had with this. They end up signing it anyway, but I can see how that will be a problem. At the end of the day, it just comes down to quality, competition, and I'm not sure if, I don't even know it's going to hold up for that long. I guess just have to wait and see how things work out when they start doing it. But, this just, I guess, to stay positive for now. So what does that mean for us, this whole Africa Free Trade Agreement? Well, it's easier to invest in Africa, and it'll be wiser to invest in Africa rather than just have all your money in the U.S. economy. You can follow different financial professionals, and they'll tell you like, hey, the debt ceiling or the debt for America is just rising. We're not really producing anything. A lot of manufacturing is shipped overseas. So it's because now that it's easier to invest in Africa, best believe other people are gonna do it. So we need to be the ones ahead, or at least get a nice footing into the continent. I would say, okay, so the best industries to invest in would be light manufacturing. So I'm interested in manufacturing. I plan to be doing own a manufacturing company, hopefully by next year. It can be small or whatever, but just manufacturing products. There's a lot of people in Africa. There's a population boom that's going to happen. Rather than rely on China, we got the resources. We got the human capital. We should be manufacturing on our own products, quality products at that. So light manufacturing, processed foods. So yeah, we can farm. There's a lot of farmland that's available in Africa. We can always farm the land, but we need to add value to it. So processing the food rather than having it exported to other countries, that will be a great opportunity for anyone that wants to really get in that sector. And really, last point, or the last industry is just agriculture, agribusiness, anything that deals with food, specifically quality, healthy food, superfruits, or superfoods will be a great investment, because that's what people are looking at now, especially with everything that's going on with the global situation. People are looking for good quality food, less processed, less sugar. You know, people want to be more healthy. So that will be a good industry to look at and get into, and you know, who knows, you can be a millionaire in like 5 years. So those are so this is what the Africa Trade Agreement is about. In case you was wondering, or if you saw couple YouTube channels just talking about it, this is essentially what it is, and these are the benefits to us. So my suggestion is that take advantage of it, find connects, do what you can when things, or at least, you know, when you maybe like closer to summertime, or when I guess it's anytime, go and make your travels and connect with, you know, just other Africans, other diasporan, and see what you can do. Just converse and network, and I mean, you just never know. So make this year really good. So yeah, so I appreciate you watching this video. If this was informative, helpful to you, then please like the video. If you have anything to say, just comment down below. And of course, if you like this content, like what this channel is providing, then subscribe to my channel, press the bell so you can be notified when I do drop new videos. If you want to follow me on Instagram, see the events that I go to, then you can follow me there as well. I'm going to leave a pinned comment of my IG handler. So until next time, continue to be great, and